Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Kombumerri people.
Good morning and welcome to the Squiz Kids Olympic Sprint, your quick as a flash update on the Olympic highlights that happened in Paris while you were sleeping. It's Wednesday, July 31. I'm Christy Kijarina. You ready to race through it? On your marks, get set, go! After a super strong opening to their Olympic campaign, the Australian women's rugby sevens team were left reeling after two shock losses overnight. They let go of a 12-0 lead against Canada in the semi-final, ultimately losing 21-12, which left them in contention for a bronze medal. They were then unfortunately blindsided at the final siren by a try from the USA, who then took the bronze medal. New Zealand won the gold, defeating Canada 19-12 in the final. It was all smiles for Australia in the BMX freestyle qualifiers, despite the temperatures soaring above 35 degrees. Men's defending Tokyo gold medalist Logan Martin and women's rider Natalia Diem, who was disappointed in Tokyo after a string of injuries, both qualified for the finals. Woohoo! Which start at 9:10 p.m. Australian Eastern Time tonight, if you're allowed to stay up to watch. And because we need to cool off, we're back in the pool, where backstroker Kaylee McKeon retained her Tokyo title to take the gold medal in the 100-metre backstroke final. Aussie Elijah Winnington started strong in the men's 800-metre freestyle final, but couldn't maintain the pace. In a closely contested race, Daniel Whiffen clinched Ireland's first ever men's gold medal in the Olympic pool. And in the men's 4x200 metre freestyle final, Great Britain were able to defend their Tokyo gold, with the USA and Australia coming in a close silver and bronze respectively. And finally, Simone Biles is back, with Team USA taking gold and the top step of the podium in the women's artistic team all-round gymnastics final. And so to the medal tally. As this podcast is published this morning, Japan are on top with 7 gold medals. Both China and Australia are close behind on 6 gold, and the host nation, France, is in 4th position with 5 gold medals. And that's the Olympic Sprint for today. Now it's time for today's Squiz Kids Daily News Podcast, where we'll find out what's going on with the lamb chop shortage in the Olympic Athletes Village. Be sure to join us again tomorrow to find out if Jess Fox has continued her winningest winner streak in the canoe singles.
Squiz Kids! It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Christy Kijarina. It's Wednesday, July 31. In Squiz Kids Today, a SharkEye in the sky, Paris Olympic hiccups, the parrot with a big bill, and the Starliner's space camp is almost over. That's what's making news, kids style.
The Lowdown.
The best laid plans of mice and men often go awry, is a line from a poem by famous Scottish poet Robert Burns. It means that no matter how well you prepare, things can and do go wrong. And although the Olympic Games have cost Paris almost $9 billion, that's billion with a B, people, there have still been some bumps along the way. Firstly, to the Olympic Village, that's home to 14,250 athletes during the Games. There have been a few complaints about the food not being nutritious enough for the needs of the athletes. One heavyweight Aussie boxer was restricted to just 2 lamb chops for his dinner. I think I could do more than that. And as for the cardboard beds athletes are sleeping on, Aussie swimmer Ariane Titmus joked that they're not made for high performance. But that didn't stop her winning a gold and silver medal this week. Next to the basketball, the South Sudanese men's team, who are making their Olympic debut, meaning that it's the first time that they've qualified for the Olympics, were left stunned earlier this week when the wrong anthem was played before their opening match against Puerto Rico. Instead of South Sudan's anthem, organisers played Sudan's, which has a tense history of conflict with South Sudan. After fans noticed the mistake, the correct anthem was played, and the team went on to win 90-79 in their debut match. Afterwards, one of the players was heard to comment that overcoming adversity makes us better. And finally, to the River Seine. Our regular listeners will know there's been a lot of stink about the river's cleanliness, especially with some athletes set to swim there this Games. Yesterday, Australian time, the men's triathlon that features running, cycling and swimming was postponed due to crappy water conditions. But officials will retest the water today, and if all goes well, the race should go ahead this afternoon. Let's hope the athletes can plunge into a cleaner Seine soon.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in California, on the west coast of the United States, where the hot weather is drawing crowds to the beach. But it's not just people flocking to the shore. Young great white sharks are coming too. Sounds like the start of the movie Jaws. You're too young to have seen that, aren't you? But don't worry, clever scientists have a solution to keep everyone safe without harming the sharks. It's called SharkEye. This system uses video equipment strapped to a drone, which sends images to an AI processor. If a shark is spotted, SharkEye sends a text message to lifeguards and anyone who's signed up to the service, warning them to get out of the water for a bit. With AI watching the screens, this allows lifeguards to focus on other life-saving duties. So even though shark attacks are really rare, it's nice to know there's an AI in the sky keeping watch.
Spaced out.
Have you been to school camp yet this year? Feeling nervous about being away from home? It's natural to feel that way, but camp is an exciting adventure that teaches you new things about yourself and about life, an opportunity that doesn't come around every day. Astronauts Butch, Wilmore and Sunita Williams are having a similar experience on their space camp aboard the International Space Station. Now, regular listeners might remember that back in early June, they blasted off on the Boeing Starliner, a spacecraft being tested for future space missions. Initially, their mission was set to last just 8 days, but problems with the helium thrusters, which are like the spaceship's steering system, extended their stay. Now, on their 56th day off the planet, Butch and Sunny have been helping out on the ISS while engineers work on a fix. And the good news? NASA and Boeing believe they've found a solution, and the astronauts should be home in a few weeks. So while their adventure took an unexpected turn, it looks like they'll be back on solid ground soon, with some great stories to tell.
Animal Kingdom.
And finally today, we have a story about a bird and a bill. No, it's not a duck we're talking about, it's a parrot. So since when do parrots have bills? Well, way back in 1983, 41 years ago, Johnny Clothier, who studied architecture at the University of Bristol, missed his graduation ceremony because of an unpaid bill of £64.80. That's about $400 in today's money. The cause? His flatmate's parrot unleashed chaos in their dorm, damaging the rooms and leading the university to charge them a repair fee, which Johnny refused to pay. And an old school rule stopped him from graduating, so he couldn't dress up in that funny hat and gown or get his certificate, even though he's still got his degree. But here's the twist. This year, the university decided to waive the old bill, allowing Johnny to graduate on the same day as his 21-year-old son, Carter. Johnny, who's now 62, joked about the unpaid bill as an ultra-long-term interest-free loan. And in case you're wondering, the parrot was not invited to the party.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. Which event was postponed yesterday due to poor water quality in the River Seine? Nice listening if you said the men's triathlon. Question number 2. What is the name of the AI equipment protecting swimmers in California from sharks? It sounds like a James Bond movie. It's SharkEye. Question number 3. How many days have Butch and Sunny spent in space so far? Well done. If you remembered, they're on their 56th day.
Shout outs.
It's Wednesday, July 31, the birthday of Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter himself. I hope she has a cake for Harry every year. It's also a special day for these Squiz kids celebrating a birthday today. George from Yass, Rivka and Charlotte from Rochdale, Shanzay from Point Cook, Richard from Bundaberg, Charlotte from Sydney, Judd from Ashmont, Lucinda from Eltham, Juniper from Healesville, and Ciara from Tailem Bend. Belated birthday shout-outs today go to Paxton from Lansdowne, Harry from Coal Point, and Chloe from Grovedale. And today's classroom shout-outs go to Class 3E and Mr Hayes at Alamander College in Point Cook. Class 5-6F with Mrs Farrell at Ostermere Public School. Class 5-6C with Mrs Chapman at Deception Bay State School. Class 5A and 5D with Mrs Liang and Miss Charles at Sheldon College. Class 4S with Mrs Spackman at Mount Terry Public School. And lastly, but definitely not leastly, Class 5-6 with Gillian at Yarraville West Primary School. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout out, or if you're after a classroom shout out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au or fill out the form on our website. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. Bryce will be back again with you tomorrow. And don't forget, every morning of the Olympics, we'll be bringing you the Squiz Kids Olympic Sprint, a quick catch up on what's been happening in Paris while you've been asleep. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.